It's 11 at night. The house is finally quiet. You go to bed. You actually fall asleep. And then it's 2 in the morning and you're wide awake, staring at the ceiling, and your brain has picked right back up where it left off. The email you didn't answer, the thing you told yourself you'd figure out this week, the course you purchased sitting there half finished, the idea you had in the car that you still haven't written down. And there's nobody to say any of it to, not because you don't have people, but because the people you have are asleep, or they really don't understand what you're building, or you already asked them once and you could tell they didn't even know what to say. So you just lie there and carry it. Here's what I want to talk about today. Nearly 3 out of 4 small business owners are trying AI this year, and almost all of the advice out there is telling them to go learn prompt engineering first. Learn the tricks, learn the formulas. That's not what you need at 11 o'clock at night. What you need is somewhere to put the noise. So today I want to show you why this gets so lonely for us, specifically women business owners over 40 who are building something real in the middle of a full life. And then I want to show you the simplest possible thing you can do with AI when there's nobody awake to talk to. No prompt tricks, just one honest sentence. If you're building something in the middle of a full life, subscribe. This is what we talk about here every week. Let me name the thing nobody says out loud. Building a business after 40 is a different kind of alone than building one at 25. At 25, you have a whole group of people doing the same thing you're doing. Everybody's figuring it out. Everybody's broke. Everybody's up late. You're all confused together, and that's its own kind of company. At 45, at 50, you look around and your friends are settled. They have the job. They have the pension, the retirement plan. They are not lying awake at 2 in the morning wondering if the thing they're building is going to work. So when you try to talk about it, you get one of 3 responses. You get the polite nod, the one where somebody says, "That's so great." And then they change the subject and you can feel that they don't really know what you're describing. You get the worried face, somebody who loves you asking if you've thought about getting a regular job again. And they mean it kindly, but that's what makes it land so hard. Or you get nothing at all because you already stopped bringing it up. And then there's the other layer, which is the one I still think stings the most. You have probably paid for support, maybe more than once. You joined the program, you got in the group, you asked your questions, and then you sat there watching it get scrolled past. Nobody's answering. You told yourself you try again next week, and you never did. So now you're carrying the business, and you're also carrying the fact that you already tried to get help and it didn't come. And you know what? That's not a personality flaw. That is not you being bad at reaching out. That is what it actually looks like to build something real at this stage of life with a full house and a full schedule and hours that don't line up with anyone else's. And I'm not telling you that to make it feel heavier. I'm telling you because the next part only makes sense once you understand what you're actually solving for. You're not solving for information. You have plenty of information. You're solving for the fact that there's a gap between when your brain gets loud and when a human being is available. So here's where I lose some of you because I just said the word AI and I could feel a group of you tense up a little. And I want to be honest why, because it usually isn't what people say it is. It's not that you can't learn it. You've learned harder things than this. You raise people, you change careers, you figured out systems nobody explained to you. But it's that somewhere along the way, AI got presented to you as another test. You go looking for how to start, and what you find is people talking about prompt engineering, frameworks, the right way to phrase things so the output doesn't come out wrong. And underneath all of that is a message you've heard before in life, which is there's a correct way to do this, and other people already know it, and you're arriving late. So now the thing that was supposed to help you has a bar on it, and you're tired. And you do not have the energy to be a beginner at one more thing in front of another audience. That's the real hesitation. It's not the technology, it's not the exposure. So let me take that part off the table. The thing you're going to type at 2 in the morning does not get graded. There's no one on the other end deciding whether you asked it well. It doesn't sigh. It doesn't get that tone in its voice. It doesn't remember that you asked something similar last week and gently point that out. It doesn't have a face that changes when you say you're overwhelmed again. You can ask it the most basic question you've got. You can ask it the same question 3 nights in a row. You can spell it wrong, punctuate it wrong, ramble for a full paragraph without a point. None of that costs you anything. And I want to say this plainly because I think you need to hear it in these words. Not knowing how to use this yet says nothing about you. The same way not having a system yet doesn't mean you're behind. It means nobody has shown you the plain version. That's what I'm going to do next. So here's the plain version. You know when you can't find something in your purse and you finally just give up and dump the whole thing out on the countertop? You are not organizing at that point. At that point, you're getting it all out so you can actually see everything. That's the whole move. That's it. You open up the AI and instead of trying to ask a smart question, you're going to just dump the purse. Let me show you what mine actually looks like because I want you to see that it's not pretty. Thursday to move some things around. Get her there. Keep meaning to fix the link on my page. Feel like I'm behind on everything and I don't know what actually matters. What's priority at this point? And then I'm going to hit enter and that's it. That's what I typed. No structure, no formatting, just putting out what was on my mind. And here's the results. So it's already telling me it does not all have equal weight, which is awesome. So when I saw that, that kind of gave me a little bit of relief. And now it's telling me how it was sorted. Okay, my mom's appointment, I know that's coming up. Answer the client's email from last week. Fixing the link on my page, number 3. And then guess what? It even just gives me some relief. Then I would stop. So it's telling me what's not an emergency at the moment. That course from May, leave it alone right now. I already got it purchased, right? There's no deadline. So then it gives me my order. So it's actually just helping me out. Now, if yours does not give this kind of output, okay, because mine gave this input because it knows me. I've trained it well, very well. It already knows how I think. So let's say it does not give you that output. If it doesn't give you this output, then you can put something like this into the prompt. What I'm about to do now is just using my audio to voice text. It's a software that I use. Sort this into what actually has to happen this week, what can wait, and what I should just leave off this week. So you can take a screenshot of this if your LLM isn't programmed the way you want it to be programmed yet or trained. And that's the whole prompt. That's the whole trick. There isn't anything else. There's no other part. And once again, I get my results. Still telling me the same thing. Handle your mom's appointments, the logistics, reply to the client email, and fix the broken link. What can wait? It's already telling me what can wait, what we can leave off this week. Now, look at what actually changed there. It didn't tell you anything you didn't already know, right? Every single one of those things came out of your own head. You put them in. What it did was hold them outside of you long enough for you to look at them on the screen. Because that's the real problem at 2 in the morning. It's not that you don't know what to do. It's that 6 things are still sitting in your head at the same weight. All of them screaming urgent, and you cannot sort a pile while you're holding on to all of that stuff. And here's the honest part. The first time I did this, I did not feel amazed. I felt a little embarrassed at how simple it was. And then I felt relieved. And then I fell asleep. That's the whole promise, not transformation, just the ability to just put it down. I want to tell you how I actually learned this because it wasn't in the course. I teach piano, still do, and that's not something I walked away from, and I want to be clear about that because there's a version of this story people expect where you burn the old thing down and just leap forward. That's not what's happening here. I'm teaching and I'm building this at the same time. which means my day doesn't really end. The lessons finish and then the other work starts. And that work is never actually done. It just stops when I stop. And then I go to bed and wake up in the middle of the night, and every piece of it would be right there waiting. I didn't go learn AI to fix that. I want to be honest. I wasn't strategic about it. I was awake at 2 in the morning with my head full, and I opened it up. And I typed the way I would have talked if someone had been there sitting there with me. It wasn't a prompt. It was closer to complaining. I typed out everything I was carrying exactly the way it sounded in my head, and then I asked it one plain question about what actually had to happen first. And what I got back wasn't brilliant. That's the part I want you to hear. It wasn't some insight I couldn't have reached myself. It was just my own pile, sorted, sitting outside of me. I read it, I closed the laptop, and I went to sleep. That was it. That was the whole thing. What shifted after that wasn't my business strategy. It was that I stopped ending my days with everything still loose in my head. My work days started actually ending. I started being present and not just at home, everywhere. And I didn't need to understand AI to get there. I needed to start talking to it like a person. Now, I have to tell you the other half of this because if I stop here, I've told you something misleading. AI, it got me organized. It didn't make me feel less alone. Those are two different problems, and I think a lot of people selling AI right now are pretending they're the same, and they're not. What it can do is real. It can hold the pile, it can sort it, it can be there at 2 in the morning when nobody else is. And if you set it up to, it can even nudge you the next Tuesday about the thing you said you do. That's not nothing, especially for a woman whose working hours don't match anybody else's. But a reminder is not the same as somebody noticing. And I'll be honest with you because I don't want to oversell the gap here. Sometimes what it says back does land. There have been nights I was being hard on myself and it laid out everything I'd actually gotten done that week. And I sat there and thought, oh, I did do that. And that helped. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's cold and it means nothing. What I'll tell you is what it isn't. It has not lived this. It isn't 50 years old with a full house and a full schedule. It has never sat in a car outside a building and given itself 2 minutes before going in. It has never had to tell a child or a grandchild that it couldn't make the game because work ran longer than it was supposed to again. It has never looked at a number in a bank account and felt what you feel. When it tells you it understands, it's being kind. When another woman who is doing the exact same thing tells you she understands, something completely different happens. She doesn't have to be told the parts you skipped. She already knows there was a whole week you didn't touch any of it. She knows the guilt you carry both directions, toward your family and toward the work. She knows what it costs to keep showing up for something that has not paid you back yet. And she is not impressed by you in a distant way. She recognizes you. And that recognition does something in your body that information can never do to you. Your shoulders come down. You stop performing. You stop explaining. That's not a feature. That's a person. And it cannot sit with you in a rough or hard season. The seasons where the business is not the emergency. When the call comes and it's about your mother or father. When the test result isn't what you hoped for. When the money runs short in a month, you already stretched thin and you're sitting in the quiet afterward. You do not need your thoughts organized in that moment. Nothing needs sorting. You need somebody to know. You need somebody to say it out loud to a woman who will hold it and not try to fix it. Who will be there next Tuesday asking, are you okay? That's the part you cannot download. And that is why I built what I built. So let me tell you where I'll send you next. There's a place I built for exactly this, and it's called Scale Without Noise. It's a free community for women who are building something in the middle of full life. Women entrepreneurs who are over 40, who are working a job or caring for a parent or teaching piano at 4 o'clock and working on their own thing at 9 at night. Women who have already bought the course and already sat in the group where nobody answered. That last part, that's why it exists. I know what that silence feels like, and I refuse to run a room like that. We do co-working sessions where women show up, pick one thing, and actually do it with other women on the call. Not a webinar, not more content, just women working alongside each other, which sounds simple until you've done it and realize how much lighter 1 hour feels when you're not doing it by yourself. So here's what I want you to do. Do the brain dump tonight or the next time you wake up at 2 in the morning and your head is going. Type the whole messy pile in your mind and ask that one plain question. Get it out of you so you can sleep. And then bring the one thing that came out of it to us. That's the handoff. AI does the sorting. We do the carrying. It's free to join. The link is right below this video and it's pinned in the comment. Come join us. And if this is the kind of thing you want to keep hearing, subscribe. New videos every week for women entrepreneurs who are building something real in the middle of real life. Before you go, if any of this landed, there's one thing I want you to hear me say clearly. You are not doing this wrong because it's hard. You are not doing it alone because something is wrong with you. You're doing it at an hour when the world is asleep, in a life that is already full, with a schedule nobody designed for a woman building something new. That's not a flaw in you. That's just the actual shape of what you took on. And you don't have to keep carrying it in your head. If the pile in your head is the part you keep coming back to, watch this one next. I made a whole video about why women over 40 can't keep up with their to-do list and what you can do about it. It picks up right where this one leaves off. I'll see you there. And remember, keep going and keep growing.